Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, 𝗘𝗀𝗁𝗁, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies.
I'm telling you, I would love to be able to share those frequent flyer miles. Although I understand they don't get to as much as they used to. But welcome to Real Estate Radio Live with Bobbi and Buddy. We hope to make it a very fun hour while you're driving in the traffic, trying to get out of town. We hope that last weekend you had a wonderful Thanksgiving Day weekend, or actually entire weekend.
Lovely long weekend.
Yes. And that you didn't get run over in the malls, although I hear that they weren't quite as robust as they've been prior years, Buddy, because people are doing a lot of online shopping.
Well, and you also made the comment that there were some wonderful retailers that decided not to open on Thanksgiving, which we kind of feel like is a better approach. There should be other things you should be doing than shopping on Thanksgiving Day, but I hope I didn't make too many enemies by saying that.
Well, it's just nice to see focus starting to come back on families, because that's the nuts and bolts of the United States, is that family connection. It's nice to see it reinvigorated.
It is.
And today we're going to talk about homes that families live in, and actually very famous homes in many of these, including the Dakota in New York City, which is, once I delved into that history, wow, it's really interesting to dig into these houses.
Yeah, this is all about celebrities. And I guess we here in the United States, maybe even around the world, are totally fascinated by celebrity. And celebrity in the homes that they have or they're selling or buying is what we're going to share with you today. And we've got a whole long list of interesting people to talk about. Bobbi talked about the Dakota, and a very interesting star for many, many, many years. She did work in way back when and up till almost, a few years ago?
We'll talk about Lauren Bacall. But we've got other people to get to. First, I know you've got the Estefans.
Yes. Well, this is a wonderful Americana story. So these guys all migrated from Cuba in or around the Fidel Castro early years and his takeover of Cuba. And all the wonderful things that were supposed to happen weren't good for everybody. So Gloria actually left when she was 2 years old. And so she got out of there early. That was like a year after that Fidel took over. And her and her mom and dad came, and her dad actually then went back to fight in the Bay of Pigs invasion. And he got captured and was in prison in Cuba for 2 years. So, and then he got out and got back to Miami. So Gloria's been in Miami all that time. And her husband, Emilio, actually moved out of Cuba when he was 14, and he played the accordion. And he and his father went through Spain trying to get their visa to come into the United States, and it took a year to get that visa. And the conversation went along the lines that he had to play his accordion to make money to feed them. So there was a whole issue about the complexity and difficulty that they had when they were trying to get to the United States. They finally got to the United States, and when they got here, Emilio kept playing his accordion, and the accordion kind of took him into the world of music, and he met Gloria through the world of music, got together in a band, and then they got together and got married. And
I know, great couple.
Great couple, wonderful Americana
fabulous
story.
Fabulous music.
Yeah, fabulous music. And now they own a part of Star Island out of Miami, off of Miami. They actually own 3 parcels there, the largest of which is an 8,000 square foot home, but they have theater facilities, and they share a lot of those facilities with their friends and family as well. So it's a wonderful Americana story, and a kind of a rags to riches scenario that often happened in the United States. We hope it can keep happening in the United States.
I know, and we always say, and for all of those that are still listening to us, we sound like a broken record, but the cornerstone of building wealth and building a place to call home is to purchase something. And whatever it is, it can then grow. Equity will still come. We are so fortunate, Buddy, to be in the state of California because we have had a recovery beyond recoveries, as has New York City, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But you get that little cornerstone, whether it be a condominium, whatever, a tiny house, you just stick your foot in the pond, and then as you stay there and as the years go by, that equity grows, and you can either grow with it and, sell one and go get another one, or build a portfolio. They have a portfolio.
Yeah, that's true. Let me say just a couple more things about Gloria and their wonderful success. So they had 26 Grammy Awards between them, and on November 24th, they were awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by our President Obama. So what a wonderful musical history they've already created and they continue to create.
And that's the immigration story.
Isn't that a wonderful
that Rags to Riches story. I love those kinds of stories. I really do. And I've got a story for you, kind of jumping in here. It has to do with football.
Oh, you love football.
I do love football. For some of those who are listening to us, you may not know that I started the New England Patriot Cheerleaders many years, more than I even want to count, buddy. It doesn't seem that long ago, but I did. And it was back when the Sullivan brothers or Sullivans owned it, and then the Marr brothers came in, and just when the old Foxborough Stadium was built. That's how long ago. Now they got the new Foxborough Stadium, and the old Foxborough Stadium, to my understanding, has been knocked down and is a parking lot.
Oh, I think the way they built it out, it's probably a fun a fun area that's got rides and everything else in it. It's quite an enclave down there now.
Well, it was fun to be in the start of that whole entire thing, and it's a way long story. I won't even get into it. But football's always been at the top of my list of fun things to watch and get involved with. And Terry Bradshaw, here's somebody who took the money he made in his job and reinvested it into properties and land, and he's doing extremely well. He's got a ranch in 𝗥𝗏𝗋𝗯, Oklahoma, and 𝗥𝗀𝗁𝗓 is the area that it's called, and he actually purchased it and years and years ago to put all of that. Although they didn't make what the football players make today, they still made good money, and so he invested it. And that was about 14 years ago. And now it's on the market with Briggs Freeman Sotheby's International Realty in Dallas.
Some folks we know.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jeremy. But Sotheby's does touch everywhere, and it's so fun to look at what we get when we get our significant sale emails during the year, because these properties are just one of a kind.
Well, when we do the 2015 review, we'll have to put a couple of those significant properties, success stories on the air. That'll be fun. Absolutely.
And this particular ranch that Terry owns is called the Circle 12 Ranch because he was number 12 as the quarterback for Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steel Curtain, as they call that.
Oh, yeah, those were the days.
Oh, they were.
Didn't Terry take like 3 Super Bowls?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if I got my history.
Fabulous. And he's a great announcer now, too. I love people with colorful descriptions and colorful ways of talking. They just keep your interest. Now, this ranch is 8,600 square feet. It's got 6 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms. It's Western style. It comes with an outdoor living space. It's got a kitchen, a fire pit, and a bar. And there's also 2 additional residences on the property. Together, his ranch has 74 stalls for horses. You would be in heaven.
I would be.
You are such a horse person.
Well, he actually has taken some awards. I can't remember whether it was quarter horses.
And for his pigs. He's got
for
show
his pigs, too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You got
I didn't know you had show pigs.
Well, you're hearing it today.
All right. That's new news.
And then I have to tell you, he's got 744 acres. And this is how many football fields would that fit?
Oh, I can't do that calculation.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to put you on the spot. I'm going to give you the answer. 562.
All right.
562 football fields. So he never runs out of space to run.
That's right.
You got it. Okay. So what I have to say about this is just that it's $10.8 million. And, he's an incredible horseman. He's an incredible rancher. He's basically the steward of the land, as his realtor says. But he has decided it's just too big with all that he does in broadcasting and everything to keep it up. And there's a certain time, so give it to somebody younger that's
or somebody
who
wants that sizable estate. I read something about him in another paper that talked about the fact that he has 3 tractors that he needs to manage that estate, and his life needs to downsize to 1 tractor.
Well, there you go. It borders the Red River, and it's got hundreds of heads of cattle and horses. So if you're interested, that's listed with the Briggs Freeman Sotheby's International Realty in Dallas, and it's, well, as of today, it was still available at $10.8 million. But it sounds like a fabulous property. I know it's getting a lot of interest out of Dallas and Oklahoma City.
Well, that's ranch country, and we've had some ranch life, so we know. That's how we got to meet those people. Now, Bobby, you're probably going to kill me, but I know you love football, and we just did a video this week about her relationship with the 49ers. She didn't know I was going to bring this up, but she was a very effective realtor to the stars of the 49ers. 1984 Super Bowl crowd. You know the names: Joe Montana, Dwight White. Now you got to tell people a little bit about that, Bobby.
I was fortunate enough to make friendship with Keith Bonhorst and his wife. He's a linebacker, and he introduced me to many of those guys. And one thing that other realtors forgot was when they were trying to find properties for them was these kids were straight out of college. I mean, they were coming out of college and going into the pros. So they were actually showing them houses that were way too big. Many of them were still bachelors and way too expensive because they were coming from a dorm room and they wanted just to find something to invest in. So I was fortunate enough to be able to find some properties for several of them, and I was given the Super Bowl ball, one of, but it was signed by all of the team members because I had a little nephew born. Brandon Patrick Reed was born on January 7th, and that year, actually 1985 because it was January, and that's his ball. But it came back to me because I had to get some things done for it, and it's cool. It's just very cool to have a connection that works out for you like that and to be able to help them with their properties and all. So I see that we've got to go to a break, so that's the end of my story, Bud. Thanks for bringing it up. So you stay tuned. I'm sure Buddy will spring some more stories on me. 1-800-516-1220. That's 1-800-516.
RadioLive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe 𝗘𝗀𝗄𝗧.
And welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live with Bobby Decker and Buddy 𝗘𝗀𝗄𝗧. We are here today going over some of the stars that owned homes and some of the really cool properties that they actually purchased. Some stayed in almost 60 years, some stay in 6 years, but at any rate, they looked for something unusual and fun and did things with it, and here we are with our program. But, Buddy, I noticed in the Wall Street Journal this past week that for the first time, I think ever, the Chinese buyers are overtaking the Canadian buyers.
Yes. Very substantial overtake, in fact.
And I understand that has to do with the fact that, 2015, their dollar is not worth as much as it was worth in 2008.
The Canadian dollar was, the American dollar is so strong.
Right. And what happened was with our crash, they swooped in and bought a lot of properties, and of course many of them are kicking themselves because what they could have gotten for $300,000 in 2009 is $450,000 in Florida. The 3 big states for purchase are the warm ones: the Arizona, the California, and the Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, if you've ever lived in Canada, you know why.
Saskatchewan in the winter. I don't think that makes up a tune. So tell me about some of these Chinese buyers and sellers.
So the reality has been that we've had, of course, a very strong influx, and the same is true as the Canadians. California is a great destination for a lot of the Chinese buyers. They look to the education of their children in many cases here in the United States. They look to the security that we provide in the real estate community, that we have lots of laws to protect private ownership here. As many of you know, in China, you don't own the land. You have to lease it from the government. there's a trustworthy source to work with.
Well, it's just that there's lots of stuff going on. And I was talking to actually my financial advisor this morning around 8:30, and the problem with everything, Buddy, is the lack of trust.
Yeah.
And that's why our clients stick with us, and they stick with Joe, and they stick with the trusted advisors on the site, because they do trust us. And until you break that trust, and unfortunately governments have broken that trust with their people, so they're going to have to do a really high step and dance here to get that trust back.
So no matter what we talk about from the standpoint of how we don't particularly care for some of the things that our government is doing, we still have a lot of laws that protect people, particularly in property rights, that are very attractive to other people around the world.
Right. They can park their money, and it will be there tomorrow.
Yes.
That's the biggie.
So let me tell you about a Chinese seller.
Okay.
So we have a gentleman who's Peter Chan. I'll tell you a little bit more about him in a minute, but he has a Hollywood Hills property available for $6.295 million. So Mr. Chan is 53 years old and has directed and produced scores of box office hits in Hong Kong, including He Ain't Heavy, He's My Father, 1993, Bodyguards and Assassins in 2009, and more recently in 2014, a drama called Dearest. Among his American films in 1999 was the romantic comedy The Love Letter, starring Ellen DeGeneres and Tom Selleck. So everybody knows about that. So this house was built in 2007. It's gated, 2-story, sits on a very secluded drive with 270-degree views of the Sunset Strip in downtown Los Angeles. So he's sitting up nicely in the hills. The floating glass staircase is probably one of the most interesting parts of it. And there's a master suite that features a bathroom done with vibrant marble, a soaking tub, and a rain shower. And there's 3 bathrooms and 3.5 baths, so if, in fact, you're looking for a beautiful home in Hollywood Hills, this is very modern, very up-to-date, and it's only $6.295 million.
Oh, what a steal. On the high Richter scale, I guess that is a steal. But for now, we're going to go to break, get back to true reality. If you have any texts you'd like to send, please do send them at 650-346-5352, or you can call in at 1-800-RadioLive.com.
Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe 𝗘𝗀𝗄𝗏.
And welcome back. It's Bobbi Decker and Buddy 𝗘𝗀𝗏 here at Real Estate Radio Live. We hope that if you have any questions about any of these properties or actually anything to do with real estate, just give us a shout and we will find out. If we don't have it on the top of our heads, we will dig down into our vast knowledge base.
Whoa.
Tucked in the corner in the file cabinet, and we will get you the answer.
You got one of those.
I do.
I know you do.
I know. Oh, my goodness. So that's what you get when you've got 30 years of experience tucked away somewhere to draw from. So I'm going to take everybody up, all your listeners, Buddy. We're going to move them from Florida up the coast. And if 6 isn't enough, we're going to move them to posh New York City. Gotta love New York City.
Oh, it's a special place on the planet. It truly is.
And there is a co-op, not a condo. Now, for those of you who are kind of fuzzy about the definition, condo you own, the co-op is shares. It's like owning shares.
In a building.
In a building, and so many people have so many shares depending on how they're divvied up and the size of your unit and so on and so on. And people used to turn their noses down on that type of thing, thinking, oh, you've got to own the land, you've got to own the property. Well, let me tell you, I hope you're sitting down, because Lauren Bacall had a home there for 59 years. She, 59 or right around there, 54, 59. And she is, well, not she, because she just recently passed away, but $21 million for a co-op. And not just that you have money, you've got to be approved by the board.
The board.
And this board has actually been brought to task for saying that, they were using parameters that were not fair or whatever, and for discrimination. You have to be so careful in real estate with that whole process. But
I recall one of those co-ops recently sold for $58 million.
Yes.
So co-ops stand right up there with everything else when it comes to real estate.
And Lauren Bacall lived in a place called the Dakota, and that became infamous when John Lennon was shot in front of it. And Yoko Ono still has a unit there, and she insists that she sees John's ghost every once in a while. But John actually felt that there was a ghost that inhabited the hall, right near his particular unit. And so, if you've been there that long, I mean, this was actually started to be built in 1882, Bud, and Edward Clark from Singer Sewing Machine was going to be one of the first, or if not the first, was going to have sterling silver floors put in.
Oh, my. His
idea for the building was an apartment building costing $1 million. Believe it or not, in 1882, $1 million, but it was to be for 60 families. Unfortunately, having him die, 2 years beforehand, that kind of gunched a lot of the plans. But they've had the Steinway family in there. They've had Tchaikovsky in there. And more recently, U2's Bono, Rex Reed, Lillian Gish, Rosemary Clooney, Connie Chung. She used to be one of the commentators. And then celebrities that were rejected. This is
rejected?
Rejected. I have the rejected list. Cher, Billy Joel, Melanie Griffin, and her husband.
Don Johnson?
No.
Oh.
Antonio.
Oh, Antonio Banderas.
The more recent, right.
Oh, my.
And Madonna. And there are even more. There are even more, but I won't go into it. It's just... So anyway, if you are looking for a co-op, you've got one on the market that had a famous actress, Lauren Bacall, and just if you can afford $3,222 a square feet, go check out the Dakota, right across from Central Park. And for that, we're going to break. So do stay tuned. We've got more facts for you coming up. And we will be here. Call us at 1-800-516-1220. Buddy, on this Friday afternoon, as you're trying to get out of town or go away from work or whatever it is you do around 3 to 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, get stuck in traffic is pretty much a sure bet.
That's de rigueur these days.
Yes. So now we are not going to drive from New York City, but we're going to fly 3,000 miles. Well, actually 6,000, isn't it?
6,000 miles.
6,000 miles, and we're going to land in Hawaii. Tell us about Hawaii, buddy.
Oh, I'm going to tell you about some stuff on the Big Island. Listen up to the music. Everybody get comfortable. Think about the beaches, the warm breezes. Okay.
Gotta love Jerry.
Matter of fact, we'll be doing 2 shows from Hawaii
the
first part of the year. But let me tell you, this might not be your favorite celebrity, but George Zimmer. Remember George Zimmer from the Men's Warehouse? There was a big brouhaha a little while ago, but George is 67, and he started the clothing retailer Men's Warehouse. He's still the chief executive and chairman of Generation Tux and Z Tailors. He's got a lovely little $35 million estate available on the Big Island in Hawaii. It's 7.45 acres, and it has 1,000 feet of ocean frontage.
Oh, fabulous.
My goodness.
They're not making any of that anymore.
Yeah, it has a 10,000 square foot main house and 7 bedrooms, 7 full bathrooms, and 2 powder rooms. The doors and the windows and the trim are all teak, of course. That's de rigueur for the island. It's a beautiful property, and he's selling it because he bought Neil Young's property next door.
Oh, okay. Well,
two celebrities for the price of one.
I love it.
I wonder what he paid for Neil Young's property.
We're not even. I think we mentioned it a few months ago,
I think
buddy.
We did.
I really do,
because
I really love Neil Young. So when anyone mentions his name, I want
to say something in the 60 million range, but I'm not certain.
Tell you what, we're going to go do more research. All of those
listening,
we'll go do more research. And by the way, if indeed, go visit our blogs and our podcasts and all of that. And if you have any questions, just get in touch with us. And if we have to go research it for you, we will. And we will come back and dedicate a part of the program to answering your questions. So don't be shy about that. We're more than happy to do some digging and help you with any and all of your real estate questions.
So that website is www.bobbydecker.com, and you can get Bobby at bobbydecker.com, and Bobby is Bobbi.
Right, not Y. because a lot of them bounce, and people will get in touch with me and say, "You're bouncing," and I go, "No, you've got to put an I
or IE." So it's
right,
just an I.
Just a plain I. So we're going to jump back over to Hollywood, and one of my favorite actresses. I grew up watching all of the. Yes, Jeremy, that's what I grew up watching. All of the chorus lines and all the beautiful productions that Hollywood put on. gazillion-dollar productions with Fred Astaire. Well, Mitzi Gaynor happened to be one of my favorite actresses as well. And she would sing that, "I'm going to wash that man right out of my hair." You know, she was in a lot of Broadway musicals. And the Joker, and there's no business like show business. The Joker is wild. I mean, just a lovely, lovely, very talented, very exuberant lady. And she's got a 1929 Spanish colonial villa, which she sold for close to $5 million. It's undergone major renovation. And the expanded compound's now for sale at 11.5. So she says somebody's going to be making some money. Although I know how much it costs to renovate now. Everything's so expensive, buddy, that, you know, if it doubled in price, what are you going to say? I mean,
but that's another piece of history.
It is a piece of history.
That's probably a good show. How far do you go with a renovation when you've got a piece of history? That's
a great program.
Yeah,
because the history sells it. Sotheby's says it all the time. They sold that gazillion-dollar place over in Europe, and you couldn't touch the walls because it was historical. Yet they found a buyer for it because they bought the history of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this one's 6,000 square feet, a little bit over. It's got, you know, your beam ceilings, very, very Spanish looking, and you've got all the updates. Now you've got the 5 bedrooms, 6 full bathrooms, powder room. But I think the thing that sells it is the fact that Mitzi lived there. You know, there's a little bit of Hollywood-y.
Yeah, well, all right. While we're in Hollywood, I'm going to take us to Malibu.
Okay.
And
I love Malibu.
Somebody that everybody knows, Kelsey Grammer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody knows your name.
Gotta love Fraser.
Oh, yeah. Kelsey's out there, and he continues to be front and center in all his different endeavors.
Very talented.
Be it Broadway or television or other movies. But, of course, if you listen to the, shall we say, the rags out there about he and his wife, Camille, that's been a frontline story for a while. It's not a happy one in a lot of ways. And they had a beautiful home in Malibu. It's on the market now for $12.94 million. And it's been on and off the market, probably like on and off with all the things they went through. But it's a lovely property at $12.9 million, 4.75 acres. And it's really kind of reduced price. It was on for $20 million at one point in time. So I guess if you think about it that way, it's getting into the bargain area. It's a 2-story house and has a kitchen designed by Mr. Wolfgang Puck. Beautiful.
Well, hey,
beautiful.
That's worth $1 million.
That's worth $1 million.
Now we're going to jump from Kelsey's house to Venice Beach because, again, we're running out of time. These shows just fly by. Grey's Anatomy, Patrick Dempsey, another one of my favorite actors, and he's a very avid race car driver, plunked down $2 million just about for a micro compound in Venice Beach. 1952 house is about 2,300 square feet. And the thing that's cool about this, and the thing that he tends to like, Patrick does, is this industrial materials, you know, large expanses of glass, polycarbonate, your corrugated metal panels. You and I saw a lot of that when we lived down there for that year.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, my gosh, that's so ugly. And you said, no, that's the coming thing. Well, Buddy was right again, guys, and we're going to have to go to break. So I will now give you the numbers 1-800-516-1220. That's 1-800-516-1220.